Must be hard coming home with nothing left to fight for.
There's always something to fight for.
I love the Rico Verhoeven. He's a strong fighter.
There's only one way to get Angie back alive. I have to go get her.
I am the most complete fighter in the world. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
Stick around. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Dodge this. Oh, yes. Hello. Welcome to Dodge This, Action Movies Unplugged, Season 2, Episode 8.mkv. My name is Simon Fielder, and, well, like no one cares, it's been a little bit longer since the last episode, but some few changes, few exciting things. Sadly, Matthew is unable to join us today due to him being too busy and too popular. Those I've paraphrased essentially his life into that, but that's what it comes down to. He will be joining us in future because he is more excited than anyone about the new Mission Impossible. So I can definitely tease that episode with no further details of when it will be out. In his place, however, we've got an absolute treat. Friend of the show, returning Dutchman. It couldn't be more relevant than today when we are talking about the Dutch-American movie Black Lotus starring Rico Verhoeven. Joining me is actual Dutchman and expert on all things Dutch. I've given him that title. I hope he's going to fill the boots accordingly. It is your friend of mine, Emil Struijker Boudier.
Hello!
We did the mic check and immediately he's coming so hot.
Sorry,
So hot.
I just thought I'll do a Book of Mormon hello. That'll be fun. And then immediately blessed over everything. Yes, I know everything about the Dutch and all the ins and outs, and I'm very interested in Dutch culture because I'm Dutch, and I don't have any American leanings whatsoever when it comes to entertainment. So
no, and that's why you sound so Dutch.
Yes.
That's why people who don't know
my focus has been mainly on the Dutch.
are like, this guy's obviously Dutch. Listen to his thick Brabant accent.
I love the Dutch. We are great people.
Now this I
love
need
the
more
Rico
of.
Verhoeven. He's a strong fighter. She's such a strong fighter. You know what I mean? He's king. You know Rico. Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. I want this
All
throughout
the
the podcast. This is my favorite. This is my favorite thing. I've been in the Netherlands nearly 5 years. I cannot do a good Dutch accent, but this I enjoy a great deal. It felt like, listen, here's the background to this episode. We all know, by we all, I mean people existing in the action spectrum. Is that
Sure.
Yeah. Extraction 2 recently dropped. I mean, if you're listening to this in the future, this isn't relevant, but in a timely manner, we were all very excited about Extraction 2. It's been on the tip of everyone's tongue. I watched it the day it came out. Oh. It's great. It does exactly what you want. I wanted to talk about it, but I thought, you know what? We watched the trailer for Black Lotus a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're in Amsterdam. It would be remiss if, when I had a real Dutch human man, which I believe is what you are, on the pod.
Confirmed.
We didn't take advantage of that. Plus, this is probably going to be no spoilers or further details, but one of my last episodes of this podcast where I can see Amsterdam as I'm recording it, more excitement to follow, listeners. So I felt like we should do Black Lotus. And last episode, I think Matthew and I came to the decision that there's just not a really good action film coming out every 2 weeks if you want to talk about new ones. So at some point you have to just decide what the film is and then talk about it regardless. Yeah. With all the information I currently have, I still think Extraction 2 would have been a better choice. and second to that, we could have talked about Fast X. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So,
we'll do a bit of Fast X
mistakes
stuff.
were made.
I'll do a quick review without without spoilers. Fast X. It's what the people want. It's what the people expect of me. I get it.
I mean,
I understand.
yes.
I'll play one of my greatest hits, and then we'll move on to just the trash solo album of one of the bassists of the band.
With everything
Which
that
is
I
White
know about
Lotus.
you, Emil, it's you know everything about being Dutch, and you know everything there is about Fast and Furious. So those two things I feel like we could really lean into. And as such, why don't we just get started with other things you have seen that aren't our feature prez, which is Black Lotus. Please, let's start with the big boys. Tell me about Fast X, please.
Well, I was a bit hesitant because I didn't love Fast 9 as much as I hoped I would.
Hard agree.
I mean, I would have to rewatch it to really put my finger on it, but I think it was just a bit of a mess for some reason.
Remember when they went to
I can't remember
space?
anything. Yeah, that's the one they go to space. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was just too quick, maybe because I may have even on this podcast I may have pitched this. I know I've pitched this to people like this is how you get to space in 3 steps within 3 movies,
Right.
And also, if you're going to do it with the final movie. It's a bit weird. Anyway,
To do it with the one that's 2 away from the end.
and this just felt
So
like
casual.
a kind of a return to form in a weird way, where it's like we're staying on Earth and we're just doing a shit ton of weird shit here that like it doesn't matter. Like constantly. If you want more of that, go to Leslie Jones' her Instagram account. She has a couple of clips up of her watching Fast X at home and giving commentary. And it was pretty much my feelings throughout the movie. She captures going, yes, rolling ball of fire, go get it, hell yeah, save the puppy.
I like the look of that because it reminded me of the safe from Fast 5. I mean, and I know this one is like vaguely tied to that,
Connected
right?
slightly, yeah.
But I was like, yes, that is the stuff I like in the Fast movies. Like it is quite silly, but it's also like there's gravity,
There's
both
some gravitas,
literal and figurative gravity to it.
Yes.
You know.
I will also say,
However, I did also
that.
see him drive a car down a dam. So
It's still the real world. Technically, you could probably. It's all those. Individually, you may be able to do each one. Like you could have a car fall down a dam and quote unquote drive it.
sure.
But anything beyond, it's the same thing with when they was it the Burj Khalifa towers? Is that the
Yes,
Is it
the
them
big
or is it just
in
the one?
Dubai.
Yeah, when they jumped out of one.
Oh, yeah, Statham.
But they still do an explosion behind it to give it a little bit more force because otherwise it wouldn't make it, quote unquote.
It'd be like a Wile E. Coyote, just like pew.
It's like, yeah, and you can absolutely drive a car out of that. That's possible. The next bit is not. But
Yeah.
we're going to throw something in there to just sort of go like, nah, we respect the laws of nature and physics, which we don't. And there was a very similar moment here with John Cena's car that he drives at a certain moment. There's just silly shit where you go like, but that is what I would think as a 6-year-old playing with my toy cars. This is exactly what I would do. And that is the joy. And with a car, I would never bring that to space. I have a space shuttle for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It was
So,
maybe too
would
fan
you say
servicey
this
to be
seems a
able- I don't know.
ridiculous thing to say, but they reined it in a little bit?
Weirdly, yes.
Okay.
Because they did this in Fast 9 as well. Like the dialogue of a Fast and Furious movie is mostly exposition and explaining what's already happening.
Right.
I will also say there was so much of that going on in this movie that I laughed at a lot of it. Like there's also, before I go into that, I don't know how you watch this movie without having like a quick recap of the other ones, because even I was like, yeah, sure, Helen Mirren might as well be here.
Right.
But they don't explain who the fuck she is.
I
at all.
vaguely remember her from a previous movie. In fairness, before I watched 9, it had been I only watched 9 a couple of months ago because I thought, I'll go and see Fast X, and then I watched 9 and I was like, I'm not going to go and see Fast X. Actually, I'm not in the mood for it right now. But I had to watch like a YouTube, like, okay, 5 minutes. Here's what happened in every single Fast and Furious movie up until now. And it was like, oh God, I forgot those characters and people, and
so much
insane,
happening. Yeah.
insane.
So without going into any spoilers, it did weirdly feel like a return to form just because they kept it on Earth, I guess.
What a sales pitch.
But yeah, because there's so many characters and like weird things that I really was like, you have to at this point do need to watch a few of them or a recap video, otherwise none of this makes sense or matters. And also, yeah, don't watch it and take it seriously because you're lost and done. Because
Okay.
there's not one character in there that is to be taken seriously.
Sure. And even if they die, there's still time.
Yeah, it felt like they just did what they were good at. Unlike, here's a little segue, I watched the movie Love Again featuring Celine Dion.
Oh gosh, I watched
And
the
Priyanka
trailer for that
Chopra.
and I was like, what is this movie?
Whoo, it's bad. So I went with our dear friend Katie. Her and I were going to go see Celine Dion. She canceled the tour because she's ill with...
Katie cancelled Celine Dion's tour.
Yes, Katie did. Yeah.
Why did
Katie
she do
canceled
that? That's so rude.
Because she felt
People-
she needed some off time.
Okay.
No, sorry. Celine canceled because she has a thing called stiff person syndrome, which is
Okay.
far worse. Like, it's a silly name for something
I
that's
don't want to
quite
make a
terrible.
joke about it because it probably is awful.
Yeah.
However, if ever there were a good reason to go and see this film that looks so bad, that
that would have been.
That is, I will allow that.
And Celine delivers. She's by far the best thing of
She
the movie.
plays herself in this movie,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Insane.
And
Insane.
every piece she is in, it looks like a postcard or a poster. Like, it's perfect. Her background is perfect. She's made up perfect. And she is just sassy and throwing shade constantly. So I'm not going to go into the plot whatsoever, but the main dude is a journalist doing a piece on her. That's how she comes into the movie.
Is it like they've wheeled her into a green screen studio for one day and they film all of her bits there? Or is she
I
like
think it's a couple
actually
days.
in
It's
the
a couple
movie?
days, for
Okay.
sure. No, she's in the movie. It's not green screen.
She like interacts with other people and
she
stuff, and there's like,
put in at least 4 days, I think.
oh wow, okay. We'll circle back around to this when we talk about Black Lotus and Frank Grillo, I suspect.
Maybe, yes. But like, go find the clips online if you like just Celine Dion throwing shade. My favorite one that I'm going to try and use in real life at a certain point is like he's being indecisive about something, and she goes like, "Oh, can I see your hands real quick? Can I just see your hands?" And she's like, "Yeah, come over here." And like she takes his hands in her hands, like, "Huh, I swear it's because these are very manly hands, and you're acting like a boy."
Wow. Celine.
Something that in an action movie I would also love. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's constantly that. Anyway.
Let's get Celine in Expendables 5.
Yeah.
I think we can do it.
Yeah. And also only watch The Flash if you like Batman from 89, because that nostalgia will get you through it. But other than that, don't watch The Flash. It's not a good movie.
Gosh. I don't know what I'm supposed to go and see at the cinema apart from Indiana Jones, and even that appears to be absolutely dividing people.
Yeah, you already watched Spider-Man. Guardians was fun. If you
So
haven't seen that.
Spider-Man, I thought was great.
Spider-Man was fucking so
that
good.
actually got me back on the Marvel train. Matt and I talked about it at length last episode, but I was out and they got me back in.
I hate that it's a cliffhanger, and hate that apparently they're quite abusive to their animators. I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Don't love that. But
All
the
right.
movie itself, I thought was excellent.
So good.
As for The Flash and Indiana Jones, they are both, as I say this to you in person, perhaps
Maybe.
on Sunday, when you've got one of those unlimited cinema cards.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'll take a punt on it.
Exactly.
But when I have to pay the full like €15 and to come out and go, that was absolutely fine. I just don't. It doesn't
not
sit
good.
well with me. I don't
It's
know
not
why.
a good feeling.
And they don't let you buy the card for 1 month just to do that. You got to have it for like minimum 3, I think. So
Yeah.
there's no way around it. Anyway, we've been waffling for quite a long time. I watched Extraction 2. It was very good. Here's my one point, and I'll probably bring this up if I do manage to nail down Matthew to watch this movie, and maybe you have a thought on this. Why do we keep calling stitched together fake one takes oneers? My pitch is this: we give that thing a new name, because then when they go, this movie features a 21-minute one take. Well, I mean, it's not one take. It's like literally like 100 different shots stitched together. So it's not, I don't know why but it looks like a oneer, but it doesn't look like a oneer because there's loads of really obvious cut points.
Yeah.
And really it's sort of just marketing at this point. Like
100%.
why? I don't have an idea of what to call it, but I just think if we just call it a different thing, then we can appreciate it for being technically still a very impressive feat to make it look like an event is happening in real time,
Yeah.
like the Johnny Depp movie Nick of Time, which I know everyone's thinking about right now. But then we don't need to be like what comparing, you know, Old Boy or Children of Men to these. I don't want to say fake in a derogatory way, but they are like very
I know
manufactured one takes.
Especially if it's just like one bit. Look, I even felt that type of way about 1917, where I felt like I understand why you chose this medium because it really brings, or it can really bring you into the situation if you don't cut away. But it's like, I don't know, my pitch would be a one camera action sequence.
Yeah.
Because
or
then it's
like
sort of
real timer. I don't know.
Maybe like, yeah.
Because that's what it is, right? The idea is that like, and it works great in Extraction 2, where there is this very extended, like you see it play out in quote unquote real time. But it just put me in mind of Carter a lot, which was like that to the nth degree. Anyway, the movie itself is a really solid meat and two veg action. I absolutely recommend it to you, and everyone's dad will enjoy it.
Woo!
Let's move on to some bloody trailers, mate.
Trailers!
Welcome to the party, pal!
I just need a soundboard so I can play these all in live, and then I don't have to ever edit the podcast, which takes so long.
I just want my voice to fade out as you play the jingle for it. That's why I did it.
I love a bit. I'll keep all the bits in, mate. Don't you worry about that. This is all going in. We're streaming this live now. I don't have time for their editing.
All right, trailer. We're in the trailer park.
Okay, let's
grab
do these in order.
Chair, sit out, grab a beer.
First of all,
I'm here for it.
Expendables is coming through. Expendables 4. This feels, and don't take this the wrong way, but maybe do. I feel like you're a fan of the Expendables movies, and
you would think so, wouldn't you?
I'm basing it purely on like the Fast and Furious vibes. I watched definitely the first one, and I suspect that is where I stopped.
I think I saw the second one as well. I never got my hands on the third
because
one.
I see clips from the second one, and I go, I don't think I've seen what joins these together. I know Scott Adkins is in it. I know Arnie is in it. But I just think the first one disappointed me, and I was like, nah, not that bothered. Then I heard the third one was either better or worse. And I was like,
I can't remember.
I don't know. Now this one, I'm like, well, I mean, as soon as 50 Cent shows up in anything, I'm off board.
This is what I wrote down. Underwhelming except the ship.
Yes. There was
the trailer is so also was this the one? There were two of them where it says trailer starts now. Is that a new thing that I missed?
No, that's the teaser for the trailer attached to the trailer, right? Which I don't.
Weird.
Makes me feel old because people
makes me
are
feel
just
like they think I'm dumb. Like I don't know what a trailer is. I clicked on it. I know what I'm watching.
But they've got 5 seconds to capture your attention, so they have to be like things that are about to happen in the trailer.
But then they lose it so quick by just cutting back and forth. And I hated this trailer a lot. Oof. I just thought it was a bad trailer. The movie might be great for all I know, but it's just flash, 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 flash. And like, I don't know what the fuck the story is. With this trailer, I've been thinking about this for a while. I miss the in a world voiceover because now they put in so much exposition in movies as well, or just random lines that seem like they're just there for the trailer because otherwise they can't tell the story. And really all you need with the trailer is give me the premise.
Yeah.
And if that is fun, if you can hook me with that, then I can enjoy the rest of the movie. And with this, I don't know what the premise is.
That is a good point, actually, that the inner world guy could really, in a world where action heroes are out of a job, the old guys are back together to fight their biggest adversary yet.
And then you meet them,
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess in a world where everything is a sequel to a sequel to a sequel, it's like, it sort of doesn't matter what the plot is, right? Especially with these, where like the selling point is how many names are above the title.
Yeah.
But yeah, having not seen the two in between, I'm very on the fence with this. I love that, Tony Jaa is in it. I love that Eco is in it. Eco needs to be in more things and be given chances to shine.
Exactly.
He'll obviously be great in this. I do like Statham's action movies by and large.
I do, but that whole sequence with him and Megan Fox, like,
That I didn't-
so little chemistry, or was that just me?
It all just felt so manufactured.
Yeah.
And some of the shots in the trailer, maybe they're not finished yet, where someone's like sitting on top of a tank just with
Yeah.
the most awful green screen. Why? I don't know if it was this trailer actually or one of the other trailers, but was there someone jumping out of a plane in this? I feel like there probably was.
Maybe, but that's the point. Like, that's a side effect of the next, flash type of trailer, which is I lose all sense of where did I see what and why am I supposed to be interested in this?
Yes, it's mad, isn't it?
It's terrible storytelling.
I am
what it is.
fully ambivalent about this, and I'm ready to be excited and delighted. But I think, like, even if you're handed the reins to this to make it, you're under such, and this probably is exactly the same with the Fast movies. You can't really make it anything more than like what it has been before or what people expect, right? It's like, how
Yeah.
do you make it special and different and exciting, but also have it tick all the Expendables boxes? I think to some degree, this is what the latter, or no, in fact, all of the Mission Impossibles have done, is that like they each do check all the Mission Impossible boxes, but you manage to get like the sort of directorial stamp on each of them, you know? You can be like, oh, that's the John Woo one, that because it's got John Woo written all over it. You know, the J.J. Abrams one was that one. It had all the fucking like lens flares, and then you know, Chris McQuarrie is just like, and now this is how they will be, and no argument so far because he has been knocking it out of the park. But it seems like with the Fast movies, I don't know who directed which ones. With the
No.
Expendables, I know that the third one, was it Simon West? I don't know. I think I started with a reasonable point, and then I lost
just
it
got
by
lost.
not having seen the in-between Expendables for good examples.
Fair enough. But that's the other thing. Like, there's no hint even of a story whatsoever. It's like, at least with Fast, you know, family's in danger and we got to save him.
There's a MacGuffin, and it probably can destroy the world.
Oh yeah, which one was that?
Everyone.
Was it the Expendables, the World War III one? Yeah. If we don't stop it, it's World War III.
Oh, I mean, this is also the plot of Heart of Stone, which we're about
That's
to
the one. Okay,
get to.
yeah.
All right, let's just go straight into that then,
Sure.
since we segued
Since
into
we
it.
just segued.
Since we're talking about a MacGuffin device that can somehow destroy the world, which I think was the plot of Fast 9 or
of all
8,
of them, pretty much.
whatever. Whenever
after 6.
yeah, whenever Charlize Theron kind of arrived, I still don't know if she's like a goodie or baddie, but there was some sort of a MacGuffin Pulp Fiction briefcase that has some fucking bit of tech in it. You know, they've got to get. Anyway, in Heart of Stone, Gal Gadot plays the spy hero whose team is destroyed and must go on the lam to prove her innocence, while also stopping a mysterious MacGuffin that can destroy the world from falling into the evil hands.
Yep.
Did I get that about right?
Yeah, pretty much.
This one definitely had a lot of people jumping out of planes,
Yeah.
or skydiving or parachuting,
Yeah.
which I think in a post Iron Man 3 Mission Impossible 6 world
Mm-hmm.
is just quite a bold move, because it's so hard to do well.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do it in a fucking studio, and then it looks like, you know, a Netflix movie, like the skydiving in The Grey Man, where you were like, this is tolerable, but
Black Widow has an all sequence in the air, which also doesn't look great.
yes.
But part of it, and now we come back to like the one camera action sequence, is, you know, when Tom Cruise didn't need to hang off of that plane. You could have done that shot in studio and still have it be impressive. Because what makes it impressive is you start on that plane and it takes off and you don't cut away.
Yeah.
So you're forced like, oh no, the ground is leaving. The ground is getting further away. When if you just jump on, have him on the side, cut away, cut to the pilot, cut back to him, you're like, yeah, he's on somewhere in the studio hanging on to the plane, whatever. it doesn't draw you in. It doesn't slow down enough for you to take all of that in. When, it's great that he did it for reals. It adds something for sure. But even if you were to fake it and just keeping that one shot there, it just forces you to come to terms with, this is happening. This is what we're doing.
Fair.
Deal with it.
And for Heart of Stone, I'm half on board. I'm ready for sort of another, and I'm ready for it. Clearly there's an audience for it, and clearly Netflix is so gagging for their own another an IP that can like spawn sequels and what have you, like Extraction 2. Great. Yeah. They're just like, I imagine it's done well enough, and there's probably already chat about making a third one.
Yeah.
But with The Grey Man, I think a sequel got greenlit. Don't know. But they're like, we need our own Mission Impossible. We need our own James Bond, right?
Yeah.
And this feels like another swing at that maybe.
Yeah, Red Notice was another one.
The Old Guard, all these sort of things where you're like, if it was just a bit better, I think you could have really been onto something. Like The Old Guard was like, I think the next one might be better. Now they sort of nailed down all the ideas.
If they go into it with that state of mind, it all focuses so much on setting up for the next one rather than just make a good standalone movie. And you can take those characters and you're like, all right, this is where we ended up. Okay, what can we do now?
Yeah.
And if you don't kill any of them, you're good to go. Like montages in that sense get underused a lot in Hollywood because it helps you out of a lot of terrible plot situations. Like, all right, we need to montage out of this. Something that, like, with Indian movies, I fucking love. It's just like, all right, we're going to quickly explain why this matters in a flashback of 5 minutes with a song. Boom, go. And you're invested. It gets explained to you. You understand. And now stuff has consequences because you're invested to it.
Yeah.
But this, seemed fun. The trailer teased a lot. It wasn't as ding as the other ones.
True. It's got money. Clearly, it's got like money behind it.
Which makes me a bit more hopeful for the set pieces.
Yes, set pieces where you're like, okay, could be good, could be good, could be good. However, it also had that very Netflix vibe. And that I don't know why that's a thing when it's not like Netflix aren't the studio. I mean, they're funding it, right? But like a production company is making it. And I don't know if there's something imposed by Netflix about how things need to look or be, or it's something about the digital with the CGI on it. It's like the difference between what this looks like and what Mission Impossible looks like. Yeah. And granted, that might be because Mission Impossible has 4 times as much money, but there's that sort of muddy tone and just too much digital fuckery, I would say.
I don't know how truthful this was of the dude on Instagram saying he worked on, what was it? What recently came out? Was it Fast 10 or No, it was about the Flash movie. Because there's been a lot of criticism on CGI, and rightfully so. Some of it looks terrible.
Oh no.
And like DC's had problems with that before in the past. If you don't know, I can't remember which one it was where they had to get Superman back in Henry Cavill, but he had a mustache.
Because he had the mustache for Mission Impossible.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it just looks awful. It's like, you could, come on, even with makeup, like, what is it, Cesar Romero from Batman 1966 kept his mustache, but even that looked better. But he very much said, like, no, the movie, like, the studio wants to make this movie. They know how many sequences there are of this, and then just shop around, and whoever can make it cheapest and willing to do it is going to get it. So money is definitely an issue there. But what they don't do is like, we don't want to give this amount of budget, so we should figure out other ways to do this. Maybe we can do some more cheaper practical stuff or work some way around it. No, but I think they just then keep it and just do it for less, which makes it look shittier. I'm always reminded of Jurassic Park, where I'm like, but stuff looked great there with the T-Rex. It's it holds up. It's pretty good still. And then you see the Flash, and you're like, this more than 30 years. Or no, it's 30 years exactly. No, 92.
You couldn't de-age Batman?
Well, no, that's the best bit of it. Like, I fully enjoyed seeing Keaton just going for it.
That draws me in, to be fair. Like, I'm intrigued. But nonetheless.
Watch it at home for free just for Keaton. Keaton is awesome. But only if you have that nostalgia for the old one. I can't see any kid going like, Batman was the best part of this movie.
No.
That's
That's
100% nostalgia.
That's the problem with getting older, isn't it?
Exactly.
We'll never be children again, and we'll watch Heart of Stone and be like, that was fine.
Yeah.
All right, we
hopefully.
got 2 more trailers.
Yeah,
let's
go.
absolutely burn through these. Firstly, The Island. I put this in because it looks very low budget, and it stars Michael Jai White, and we're also talking about another fairly low budget action film. So I wanted to bring everyone's expectations back down to like, come on, these are not every movie can be Mission Impossible. Let's see what the levels are.
Some of them now look like they were shot on an iPhone without the use of a special lens.
I think Michael Jai White has so much potential, and he's such a good martial artist, and he's just given such bad everything. Like he just I know we all got to work, right? He's going to take the work. Why can't anyone put him in a good movie?
That is indeed what bothered me about watching this. I'm like, but he's way better than this. Why is he not getting the work? Or like slightly more
infuriating. And there's I have so many questions like this, and I think it's like and maybe we get to this in a bit, but let's take this example. I would love to have a candid conversation with Michael Jai White. And actually, Scott Adkins is actually quite good at this because he talks about movies and is sort of candid to a point that you don't get from a lot of quote unquote, Hollywood people. Like, especially in more recently, say with like Accident Man 2, I'd listen to interviews when he's very honest about how hard it is to make a movie and like how hard it is to get the money to make a movie and do this, that, and the other. And you're like, okay. And when you kind of hear it laid out, you're like, well, you know what? It's fucking hard to make a movie and you've made a pretty good one. So when you see like Michael Jai White in movies like this, I would just love to like hear him, off the record being like, look, we had like 2 days to do this and we needed 2 weeks. So this is the best we could do. Like the guy who choreographed the thing wasn't good at shooting this way, or like the director didn't have experience in like shooting action scenes. The editor, blah, blah, blah. I sort of just want to know. And I haven't even watched the movie, but I think I can say with some degree of certainty, it's not going to be great.
No.
But it is getting made, so people must watch it, right? Yep. Like there's just such an incredible. I think I just want to talk to more industry people to like get the inside scoop. But even then, getting the real answers that aren't like, this is more than my job's worth, so I can't really actually tell you the details. Yeah. It's like, fuck, the only way you know is basically by making a movie.
It had a really good line in it though. Which kind of made me sad because I feel like, this is a really good line and it might not show up in another movie, which is he takes out his gun and said, that's right, I had it and I didn't use it. I was like, that's so badass.
Yeah, I like
especially
that.
after you just kick the shit out of somebody.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's right, I had it and I didn't use it. Because with so many movies like that, and it happens in Black Lotus quite a bit, or it's like, oh no, the gun is jammed or can't use guns, so we have to do fist fights. And the fact that he chose to do that because he knows I love that. And I haven't even seen it, but that was worth it alone. That was pretty good.
The man is an absolute beast. And given the opportunity, he can really go to town. I just, if this trailer is the best it has to offer, I'm worried he's not giving them the material. I keep having Michael Jai White trailers on this podcast. And every time.
Because we love
Every time I'm disappointed. Right, one more quickly. It's Till Death Do Us Part, featuring Cam Gigandit from Never Back Down, right?
I'll take your word for it.
He's in Never Back Down. He's also in Angry Naughty Santa, Angry Christmas, White Christmas, Stranger Things, Santa.
Oh, is that Santa Slays?
Violent Night.
Sorry. Santa Slays might be the Goldberg one. I can't remember.
Did you enjoy it? That was a little journey of brain association there, live on the podcast. Got there eventually.
My note on this was, what? Question mark?
Yeah.
Mainly because I love a bright kicking people's asses in a wedding dress. But the trailer does nothing to explain why this is happening at all.
No.
Not one bit.
It feels like a good concept.
I need to know something.
Why are the bridal party allowed to try and murder the bride?
Yeah.
Just quickly tell me that, and then I'm delighted to see her
Absolutely.
quite kicking some quite serious ass in this, which looks like it could be very fun.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, because you're not telling me why she got into this situation. If that's really stupid, it's not going to be as fun, I guess.
No.
But yeah, the action looked pretty good.
It looks like it could be some throwaway fun. She's
Reminded me of The Princess. That was the name of the movie, right?
a little bit like The Princess, yeah. Except in The Princess, I don't think anyone gets stabbed in the dick that I remember.
I mean, that was my only criticism of it.
yeah. 3 out of 5. No dick stabbings.
No dick stabbing. Sorry, you lose a star because of that.
Big hopes for the sequel. All right, I think we've dawdled enough in the trailer park, and that my hope is that we will have filled up enough time, because I suspect we're not going to have too much positive to say about Black Lotus.
No, so good old hang at a trailer park.
Join me, take me by the hand, and come with me into the feature presentation.
That's me driving out of the trailer park.
And now, our feature presentation.
Dodge this.
We are talking about the 2023 movie Black Lotus. It's a co-production, I believe, twixt the Netherlands and the US. But since me and Emil are both in Amsterdam, this movie takes place I say largely.
All of it, pretty much.
It's supposedly largely in Amsterdam. It definitely features some Amsterdam scenery and very Amsterdam-y things. So what better way than a real Dutchman and another human man, me, who is in Amsterdam, to get into this movie. It's also, the trailer at least, sold it as action. Rico Verhoeven, who is a kickboxer.
Yep. World champion, I think, still.
Well, every time I have a question about something Dutch, Emil, I'm going to ask you.
Gosh, darn it.
Can you answer my question in your best Dutch accent? Who's Rico Verhoeven?
He's the king of kickboxing.
That's my favorite. Literally my favorite. Okay. Do you, also,
He's knocked out a bunch of people. Yeah.
Generic Dutch person. Can you give us a little sum up of the plot of this movie, such as it is?
So Rico is a soldier, and he goes back to Amsterdam, and then a little girl gets kidnapped, and he gets her back. But he's very troubled. And
that's a great sum up. Thank you.
That's
Joost.
pretty much it.
That's really solid, actually.
That's the plot.
That in a way, that is the plot, isn't it? And yet the little girl doesn't get kidnapped until
48 minutes into it. I wrote it down.
So far into the fucking movie. Okay, let's say some good things about this movie first, because I feel like it's very easy to pile on, and I think we'll be able to do that without any real effort.
Okay.
On the plus side, how many action movies come out of the Netherlands?
Yeah, not a lot.
Or are set in Amsterdam? I feel like a few have had scenes in Amsterdam. I think The Hitman's Bodyguard had an Amsterdam bit, right?
Had some sequence.
Can't remember anything else off the top of my head.
No, not big ones.
No.
The last Spider-Man movie has he goes to Dutch jail and he gets picked up in a tulip field,
right.
so that was great for our image. When you are on the other end of it, like for such like a brief moment of time, which gets done to other countries constantly,
right?
You realize, oh my God, they do just pick the 2-3 cliche things, drop them in there, and that'll get you sold. We're in France somewhere. Show the Eiffel Tower, real quick.
We're in London, mate. I'm coming out of a red telephone box in front of Big Ben.
And when you actually walk around, you're like, none of this is really true. No. So, all right, fair enough.
I remember seeing that Spider-Man in a Dutch cinema, and people sort of being like, "Hooray, the Netherlands!" Come on, mate.
Spot on.
This again. All All right. Well,
you represent Tom, welcome to... Oh, come up now.
at least it wasn't set in the red light district.
Yeah.
They
Next one.
ticked some boxes. So this is set in Amsterdam ostensibly, and that is represented in a few, nice drone shots over the canals. Rico
They
runs
filmed at some places.
over the old, what do you call that one bridge? The old bridge.
I don't. No. He doesn't run over the Magerbrug.
No.
No, it's a different one.
Okay, it's the one that
Or they shot it real weird.
that lights up nicely at night. What's that bridge? I don't know if it goes up.
No,
and down.
that is the Magerbrug.
Yeah, he
but-
runs over that like twice on his little run.
No, that's a different bridge. I
Different
believe.
bridge.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you are the Dutch expert, so I have to defer to you on
It's
anything.
because it's so the Magere is essentially thin, and the bridge he's running on is not that thin.
Oh,
So
interesting.
either they shot it real weird, maybe it was implied. Maybe it was. I don't know. Fuck. Now
so
I'm
they check enough
doubting
boxes.
everything.
There's some tulips. He runs over famous bridges.
Final sequence take place on the Krasnopolsky Hotel, even though they
Yes.
named it as something different.
They
but
did,
the
didn't
sign
they? Yep.
is too big, so they can't shoot around it somehow.
That's right,
Which
yeah.
annoyed me.
Yeah. There's a shot in Dam Square at the end, famously outside of the.
We'll get to that. Hold on.
palace.
Sorry. Yeah.
And also, when he gets off the train, he gets off at Sloterdijk station, which I found very, very, or quite realistic in a way. Like, he probably doesn't live near Central. It's very expensive. He's probably more. If you want a big house, you're going to be out there.
that
aren't
was
you?
definitely just that's budget.
Yeah. You can't shoot
even
at Central.
even Ocean's 12 shot at Haarlem Station for Amsterdam
Really?
Central. You can't shoot there. It's
Incredible.
just logistically impossible, I think. Because
Incredible.
if Brad Pitt and George Clooney can't get Amsterdam Central, who can? But I get on train every day on the track they shot that movie.
Well, it speaks to, I think, like a lot of the things in this movie that, like, budgetary constraints, right? And so I think when you set out your stall of this is set in Amsterdam, like you've already set yourself quite a tough challenge because, as you say, like, well, you can't shoot at the main station. Also, like, the center of Amsterdam is so busy that to film anywhere near canals and stuff is just like logistically insane.
Yeah.
To shoot in Dam Square, I feel like just the fact that the shot exists is like, congratulations, you managed to get Dam Square shut down for 1 hour at 5 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Yep.
Great job. Unfortunately, does it add anything really apart from like that looks lovely?
No, it makes for a very disappointing finale is what it does. Because you knew, like, oh, you didn't have her for that long.
Didn't
That's
have
why this
time.
is the end of this movie.
Yeah, it's just...
I feel we can spoil a little bit because we're not going to advise anybody to see it. And quite frankly, the people listening to this are not going to watch it. Right?
I mean, even neither of us were going to watch this, but it seemed like...
True.
It seemed like a great idea 24 hours ago. But
to give people a taste of sort of how bad this movie is, after the premiere, there was, it's the celebrity premiere. All these celebrities and friends come along, and when that happens afterwards, it's all gushing reviews. The gushing reviews from one of these celebrities was, "I'm so impressed that he did this."
oh no!
It's like, yeah, that's what was my thought when I saw the trailer. Like, that's a great sizzle reel for Hollywood. I understand why he did it.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be good. I just didn't expect it to be this bad.
Oh, it's like when you come off stage and someone goes, "How do you think it went?"
Oh, okay. So why is it so bad?
Okay.
What are your thoughts? I have my thoughts.
Okay. So let me say, Amsterdam looks nice in this movie. Rico Verhoeven is a large man in this movie. Other large men have had very successful careers in movies when they were maybe quite dull at the beginning. So I don't want to write him off entirely based on this. Frank Grillo, I would say,
That
is
was my
the
positive
best
thing.
he can be in this movie.
He was good.
I
He did
assume
nothing wrong.
half of the budget went on getting Frank Grillo, although
think about that.
increasingly his choices baffle me. He seems to have sort of gone from almost A-list, sort of B-list, being in quite a lot of good things, to increasingly...
He was in Marvel.
He's in
a bunch of Marvel movies.
Right.
Yeah.
He's also just in a lot of straight-to-video Drek recently. And again, I know everyone just wants to work, but this one, you're like, maybe he just wanted to spend a week in Amsterdam. Fair play, because I think he probably
Wouldn't
had
blame him.
3 days work on this, maybe 4.
I think it was a week.
It could have been a week because, you know, they had
He's
to
in it quite a bit.
have a whole day in Dam Square. They had a day on the roof.
It's not like Chelsea Grammer and Money Plane, which was before lunch.
Fair. It's not like Steven Seagal, you know, turning up and being doubled, but like it is Frank Grillo's face all the time he's talking, and somehow he manages to say the lines and not sound as dreadful as everybody else in this movie.
God,
he elevates the movie. At the beginning, there's a scene in a theater which is okay. I will say this.
I hated that too.
Technically, most people did a solid job on this movie. Nothing is out of focus. The sound is good.
You're really impressed that they did it.
It just looks fine. There's a couple of shots that are quite nice and imaginative. There's a shot where he's sat on a bench and the camera sort of goes like 360 around him. There's a couple of
TikTok feel. Sorry,
a couple of like nice in-camera edits. There's one quite nice dead body idea, and I don't know the budget. If I knew the budget, I think maybe I could say, and for the money, they've made the best thing they could. And I think even without knowing the budget, we can say all of our criticisms are probably, the answer is, we didn't have time, we didn't have money.
A lot of it. My main issue with this movie is the just sheer amount of illogical choices that are constantly being made, plus the storytelling is all over the place. And it starts with that very first sequence, which is an orchestra getting ready to rehearse because there's not an audience. But then for some reason there is theater lighting, which I don't think happens ever when somebody's rehearsing. So that pissed me off as a theater technician. It's like, I would definitely not be here for this. This is bullshit. But they surprise this orchestra and take him hostage. The SWAT team is like 6 seconds behind them. And I'm like, couldn't stop them before they went in?
Good effort, yeah.
Couldn't do that. But then there's a complex bomb situation. Like, when the fuck did they set that up? Like, you didn't show me time passing. Maybe that did happen. Maybe there is an explanation for it, but you're not. And throughout the movie, there's a bunch of, I feel like you cut something out that is kind of mission critical to me understanding it. But I can also see maybe they went, it's too long.
No one cares.
We need to cut stuff out. Because even in some dialogues, I don't think I wrote that bit down though. Shoot. But the husband, Paul, is reacting to his wife, and he's repeating back something that she didn't say.
Right.
I was like, you couldn't fix that, huh?
I'd love to talk to the editor of this movie. I bet they've got some answers.
Oh, they have to have some thoughts.
Can you imagine?
Oh, that's a good one. We may be able to track them down. They might be willing to come on the podcast.
Yeah, perhaps.
It's not a Hollywood one, so.
I mean, yeah, for me, I think it falls down immediately on the script, and I don't want to lay the blame entirely at the feet of Tad Daggerhart, who has that is a great name, and also on his IMDb he has a story credit on Expendables 4, so maybe this worked as a calling card.
Well, maybe I don't want to watch Expendables 4 now.
But my word, this is like, it's like the sort of bullet points on a napkin of a movie.
That's exactly what I wrote down. It's like, this feels like watching the beer coaster idea. It's just like, and then we have this scene, and then he gets pissed over here, and then this happens, and then he kind of says, hey, what's going on with you?
Right.
And instead of writing the actual dialogue, they just went with that.
Nothing is fleshed out.
So much.
They're like, okay, so at the beginning, there's like a tense hostage situation in a theater, and then for the rest of the movie, that is irrelevant. Also, for some reason, one of the orchestra is the bad guy for no reason.
We don't see him ever again.
The trained special forces operative Rico Verhoeven just decides to go rogue for absolutely no reason at the top of the movie.
Not no reason, but he's been very clear about not jumping the gun, and he very much does that.
Yes.
Even though he's already too late, so it's not. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no like, this guy's a hothead. He's got to be. We keep him around because he's so good at his work.
But there's no character development.
Nothing. He barely says anything for, the entire movie, to be fair. Certainly the first half of the movie. What I don't get is, Rico Verhoeven wants to be an action star. Great. He's a fucking enormous man, and he's a kickboxer, right? There's been innumerable people before him that have achieved this success, right? It's a well-trodden path. Fair play to him.
Looks good. A lot of thought shots.
He takes his shirt off a lot in the movie, and he's very ripped. He seems like he's 19 feet tall. I don't know. He was standing next to a young girl. There was the perspective I couldn't work out. But he seems like he's a huge guy. And if the qualifications for being an action star are you are huge, he's there. He's right up there.
100%.
Oddly, for a movie that is supposed to launch him, I find it an interesting decision that for 2/3 of the runtime, he is not doing anything resembling action.
I wrote down Rico's face 90% of the time is the old, I'm going through so much, but I can't show it.
Literally ridiculous.
Also, so that sequence happens, and it goes like 5 years later, and he shows up at so his captain, like his boss, his captain, I don't know what they call it in the SWAT team, dies in that place. So it's his fault that his captain dies.
100% is his fault.
100% his fault. It just doesn't deal with that for 5 years whatsoever. Shows up to his widowed wife.
No, he just goes to chop some wood in Eastern Europe.
Yes, just got some wood.
He just goes to work at a wood factory in Eastern Europe.
So we can see him take his shirt off.
How like you do? Yep.
Yeah. And then just shows up like, oh, by the way, I know I didn't show up to the funeral, which blew my mind. Like, what? You didn't go to the funeral? How dare you? Like, it's the honor among your SWAT team, surely. Those are your comrades, your brothers. His fucking captain says it at one point.
As they
this is your
say
family.
Throughout the movie, yeah.
Yeah. You didn't bother to go to his funeral because you had a tough time. His pregnant wife needed a fucking shoulder to cry on, and you left. Which then she says to him, and like, thank God, you are right. Get the fuck out. And and then I remembered, oh no, the little girl comes in because of the fucking trailer. Like, oh, she needs to be kidnapped. And then 5 seconds later, she's outside. No, actually, come back in. We have a spare room. You don't have anywhere to stay. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
And it does that quite a bit throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
And like illogical stuff again, like, oh, and here's a closet full of my dead husband's clothes that you're free to use. I'm like, he's 2 feet shorter than him.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
I'd love it if he just stepped out in like a t-shirt that showed his belly button and like
oh, thanks for letting me learn
pedal
this.
pusher trousers that were really tight. Like, I think I'm going to go to H&M. Actually, these are dreadful. I've got to be in Dam Square later. There's 3 H&Ms in a 1 block radius, mate.
And also, that didn't need to happen at all. They didn't need to say that.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he have his own clothes or buy some clothes? Why we don't? It doesn't matter. It's like going to a gas station to get gas in a movie. We don't ever see it because we don't need to know. It happens. It's fine. It's not
so
relevant
much
information
in this movie that happens, and it's just like
there's a Rocky run without a montage. It blew my mind.
That's where he runs over one of the bridges.
Maybe the but I have my doubts. Anyway.
Twice he runs over that same bridge. They've got the drone up, mate. Put him in a different hoodie.
Oh, but that whole sequence, yeah. But they do a bit, which I sometimes do in videos when I realize I don't have enough footage. All right, let me cut something in between and cut back to it because it is a good shot.
Exactly.
But then I don't have anything else.
I got a good shot. I'm putting it in there regardless if it helps or is useful.
Oh my God.
Here's, I think, and again, some of the actors in this are probably good actors in their respective countries. But
honestly, probably yes. It felt like a lot of weird directing.
Everyone in this movie has a different accent and they are all speaking English. I understand you'd want to sell this internationally, but they say some of the weirdest shit. And maybe Tad Daggerheart hoped some wisecracking Americans.
It is a good name. It
It gets
better on repeat.
There's no way it's his real name, and if it is,
can't be.
God bless him. You write these lines, and you're like, fucking John McClane's going to deliver these, and he's going to sell the shit out of them. You don't expect, a random Belgian dude is going to have to say this, or like a French woman, or an Israeli lady, or a Swedish fucking strongman. And it's just like everything sounds so unnatural. Like at the beginning, there's the cop lady is sort of, having these like offhand quips with these, and they all just sound like so awful, and it's just like none of it is earned. None of it is like character building. It just sounds like the sort of thing. A long time ago, I took a script writing class, right, when I lived in London, and we had to write a scene, right, like an inciting incident scene, which is, the turning point in the first act of the movie that sort of spurs the rest of the story on. And I read it back, and I had fallen into that exact trap of like, instead of like, writing something set in London about some shit I knew, I was like, I fucking love action movies and American movies and whatever. And I'd written this like 2 cops or ambulance drivers, and it was the most forced, wordy, unnatural, like I grew up loving Kevin Smith and Tarantino. Like those words only work if they're coming out of the right mouths, or somehow they're either very well written, they're very well acted, the whole thing is put together great. Whatever it takes, that magic to make that work is so much harder than you think. And things like this, I watch a lot of bad movies and I'm willing to cut them a lot of slack. But when you hear these sort of like things that are like meant to be throwaway offhand quips delivered by non-native English speakers in situations where they just don't land, it's so clunky.
Yes, I took a note of one of them, which he's torturing some guy for information at the end, and he says, "If you move one more time, I'm gonna hurt you again," or something. Yeah. And then the dude gives up the information, doesn't move, and he still hurts him. And the bad guy's like, "I didn't move." And then he says, "Yeah, but you were talking." I'm like, that's not the phrase you used there. It's, but your mouth was moving. Right. If you want to add that, but your mouth is enough. How do we miss this? Clearly on the first read through, like, hey, can we change this real quick?
Good note, actually.
There's an obvious fucking
really
line
good note.
Like, and I'm not the world's greatest script writer because I don't write scripts. So, and it's, to bring Ed Sheeran into this, he's got a great analogy for songwriting, for instance, because that's what I did as a teenager.
Thank
I
God
wrote
Ed
songs.
Sheeran's made an appearance finally on the podcast.
I mean, he has to come into most popular culture at some point. He got into Ted Lasso, Game of Thrones. He's coming onto this pod.
Oh,
it's the holy trinity.
That is true. Seems like a good lad.
But there's a documentary somewhere out there of him, and in it he's talking to a bunch of students at his old school, and he talks about songwriting, and he says it's like a faucet. It's like a faucet that hasn't been turned on in a while. So when you first open it up, there's a lot of gunk that's going to come out. There's like a lot of shit. And occasionally, bit of fresh water. And if you just keep that open, if you just keep writing, at a certain point, there is no real gunk anymore. It's mostly water. And it's mostly going to be good because you kind of figured out how to do it. And it's when you said that about like, and then I write my own writing banks, like, yeah, I have some of my old songs and they're terrifying because I was fucking 14.
And this movie
horrible.
Is the gunk. Is what you're saying.
Yes. It feels like that's why it's the beer coaster right here. So, this is the first thing. It's like, no. You need to like go over it a couple times to like get out the wrinkles or get out the gunk, if you will. And like, I didn't move. Yeah, but you were talking. It's like, but you just tag. It's move and move. That's the, like,
sorry, we don't
still
have the money for
delivered on your promise
on the
of
script.
I'm going to hurt you when you move. Because technically he did, even though you're a bit of an asshole for doing it. It's like, it's that classic, he's a good guy, but, you little rebel.
Of course.
Are you maverick?
I thought you said you were going to kill me last. I lied. It's that, but the worst possible version of that.
But the worst possible, where you're like, it's the improv game where you have to not rhyme.
Yes.
Which is fun if that is the game and it happens a couple of times. But then that's a warm-up game. You don't ever really do that during a show.
And that's sort of what this movie feels like. Is like, why is the star, I mean, essentially the star, Rico Verhoeven, who is a world-famous kickboxer, why is he not kickboxing people throughout this whole movie? Why does he not really get to do anything very cool in the whole movie?
One cool thing where he just jacks a dude out of a car with one hand, and I want it just more of that.
I mean, that was funny.
Just be the Hulk.
He's so big. Yes, he should do mental shit like that. At one point, he rides a bike. He chases someone on a bike,
and he's so big it really looks silly.
A funny nod to it being set in Amsterdam, but
I dug it.
It was also like, Yeah, ridiculous.
It's 100%.
I don't know. The whole thing sort of looks like a mediocre episode of a TV show, right? That's about where it is.
Yeah, and because there is so much logic missing, like it's so little, maybe it's cut out, who knows. But when he's in the hospital and Interpol comes and questions him and he sort of just walks out, where you go like,
You killed 2 people, mate.
how is he allowed to walk? What's happening? Just don't have him arrested then.
He's
That's
very big.
fine.
He's very big, so he's allowed to do whatever he wants, I guess. I don't know. I
just read another weird line that I wrote down. It's like a wildcat in your pants.
I remember that.
Don't
Makes
know
no
what
sense.
that is. Makes no sense.
What is that? Is that a thing?
I think they mean it's a bad idea.
Says
It's like,
that.
but nobody, you can't do that. It's, yeah.
Oh, but I do. It reminds me of going to do jobs in the Netherlands, which I do. This is why I live in the Netherlands, and I will often my USP here is that I'm a native English speaker, right? So I can do things in English that sound natural and English. And sometimes people will be like, "Can you just take a look at the script to, pull out things that maybe you wouldn't say it like that, or that's not what it." And it's like there's so much of that in this where. I mean, I don't know where Tad Daggerheart is from, but he certainly wasn't on set to go, actually, that sounds awful as you say it. Why don't we
change it?
Change it to something that you would say natural. Like, there's no time, there's no money for this. And, okay, so it's meant to be an action film. There's the opening scene where you're like, okay, there's some people shooting guns. I guess that
in
that
the dark,
counts.
so we don't know who's shooting who.
I will say this. It did seem like there was some physical squibs and gun shooting. It wasn't too CG smoke, CG muzzle flares. So that's another one in the plus side. We've got to take them where we can at this point. After that, you've got a solid 40 minutes of no action, just talking, setting up this...
Weirdly, not really setting up anything.
Not
very
really.
little happens in those 45 minutes.
A plot where there's a guy who has, I think, lost some of Frank Grillo's money. We don't know how really he lost it or why.
I didn't write the sentence down, but it was like the worst version of Star Trek Tech Talk, where they just throw in some random words, but these all felt like random words your grandmother would know, and then it doesn't really work.
There is a point in this movie, and I was thinking of having it as my action replay, but I've thought of a different one, where Frank Grillo goes into this guy's office, the character of Paul, who is, I guess, an investor, a trader, someone you give your money to, and you go, can you make this into more money for me, please?
Yes.
And he has a screen next to him that has got a very clearly comped in sort of stock footage shares graph on it. And then Frank Grillo goes like, "What? Where's my money?" And then he sort of turns the screen, which this thing stays on that screen. Then he taps the keyboard a bit and goes, "Yeah, I can see what's happened here." Whilst pointing at this screen that just basically just has like a graph on it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, when they were filming the scene, that he didn't know what was going to be on it. And then, I mean, it was literally the most like student film, ridiculous. Oh God, how on earth are we going to cover this? That like we don't have any footage of him going over to a screen we don't see. Like, why? What? Just so many times I was like, in this whole movie, I was like, why? What? The choices that have led to him pointing at a screen that has a sort of generic like Google image search, of graph goes down, lose money,
but also goes back up again. By the way,
oh my God, it was that was baffling to me, and it sort of made me hand it to like Frank Grillo for just like clearly
rolling with it,
just being like, this is not going to turn out to be a good movie. Surely you must know that.
I just realized something. It not only just doesn't have logic in it, it goes out of its way to show the illogicalness of the situation. If that's that's
illogicality,
the
illogicalityism.
Like there's the moment when he decides to go after the little girl, and he puts a gun to the Interpol guy's head and steals his car. There is a car right behind him. There's no reason for him, but It happens a lot in action movies, I think, but mostly it like, oh, he would take the car, drive off, and then you have another scene in between, and then you cut back to, oh, they need another car, and they just take that car. And then your brain has forgotten that that car obviously was already there until you watch a YouTube video pointing out the plot hole. And they're like, yeah, whatever, but we needed this and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But they kind of go out of their way to show like, this situation is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we're going to treat it real serious.
That's it, isn't it?
When Fast and the Furious is like, this is all illogical. However, we're not going to take ourselves seriously.
It's like the sort of Venn diagram overlap of the worst things where it's like, there's no logic. There's not enough to sell it, but you're taking it so seriously that we're almost like veering into like the Room territory of like,
yes,
oh,
like
this is like awkward to watch. And like, I can't say this enough. I watch a lot of bad action movies and I'm very forgiving of a lot of bad acting, plotting, like nonsense. If somehow it's like, well, that fight scene was pretty good. Somehow this movie manages to absolutely miss the mark on every single thing.
Yep.
Apart from you've got Frank Grillo. It's like,
who's doing his absolute best. I mean, most actors are doing their absolute best, but it really feels like the script and directing is letting them down. But yeah, I just read a note that says, there's a lock at a certain point that he needs to. Oh, it's his dead captain's like army box.
Oh,
but we don't ever see what's in it. I don't think.
I think it's got guns, lots of guns, right?
Sure, probably. But he goes like, how do you know the combination of this lock? And she goes, yes, it's 6/12/6/12, his daughter's birthday, which pretty sure child wasn't born yet when he died. Well, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I don't know about that.
But worst of all, it's like 6/12/6/12. They show the lock, and it's one of those classic, Tumblr, or is it a Tumblr lock?
Yeah.
Is that how you call it?
Yeah.
With the numbers on it. And I'm like, I've never seen one of those with 12 on it. What are you talking about? And then I quickly paused.
612, isn't it?
Yeah. No, but there's only 4 like little attorney thingies. So I'm like, what? You could have just picked a different birthday. There's no need for this to not work.
That was even that got
Well,
past
at this
me.
point, I was hysterically laughing and angry at the same time.
My note on that scene was, why has he carried the whole box down the stairs from the room rather than just going, hey, what's the code to that box upstairs full of guns?
Also, he could have ripped that open. He's that
Of course,
strong.
he's the Hulk.
Would have been better.
I think at this point, we're sort of flogging a long dead horse with these tiny bits.
Yeah.
I'm just going to rinse through my notes. I think we've covered most. Oh, why is it called Black Lotus? Is that the name of the Bat Gang?
Oh, that was my final note on it. I think the tattoo shows up twice. It may have been on his arm. Otherwise, I don't know.
Not explained.
Not one bit. It was literally when it came back up, I was like, so why the fuck was it called Black Lotus?
Yeah.
Is my note.
I prefer it to like, at least it's better than a very generic DTV title, like Revenger or Extraction or like there's a new Liam Neeson movie coming out that is called Retribution or like one of those just sort of rubbish, could be anything titles. So Black Lotus, good, better title, not explained enough that it's stuck in either of our heads.
No.
How many days did Grillo work? I'm gonna just go through each of my notes. How many days did Grillo work? I'm saying 3 or 4. Maybe I
think it was
being generous
a week.
with how quickly they could
got
shoot
screen
this.
time.
Yeah. How long did they get in Dam Square? An hour? Is my guess?
Tops.
My guess is an hour. That is
one take.
as you say, the finale of the movie when finally the boxer Frank Grillo, who's very trained in boxing and is very adept physically, gets to face off with the world champion kickboxer, Rico Verhoeven. Oh man, this is going to be the worthy showdown that we've all come here for in the 1 hour that they've had to they've chosen to film it in Dam Square at 5 a.m. so it's empty. Oh god, they haven't got enough time. I'll tell you what, the best thing you want to do is have them do a sort of Mexican standoff where they don't even get near each other and then just wrap that up within seconds. Cheers, mate. Credits. Unbelievable. What was the budget is my next note, which I really is probably answer to quite a lot of our concerns, but not all of them. And then I just wrote, how did this get made? Rico? Question mark. Is he
100%.
Is he like I don't my awareness of
he's
that,
a co-producer on this.
Is he like a multi-millionaire? Did he just throw like 2 or 3
He's got
million
deals,
at this.
and like he gets to work out with Kevin Hart if he wants to. Like if he's in LA, like he's got friends.
I'm not sure how big he
I don't
is.
know
Is my question as to can he just go?
He's a big name.
Can I
Like
have some
people all
money?
over the world know him
Yeah.
well, so I'm sure he's got sponsorship deals.
Fair
I'm sure
play.
his name's big enough to get some money going. Obviously, not millions and millions for a project like this.
Yeah.
But like I said, it felt, even when I'm watching the trailer, it felt like, oh, you just made this so you have a good sort of fighting sizzle reel for Hollywood that
Yeah.
you can sort of shop around and show.
Yeah.
Which fucking fair enough. I still hope that he does well.
Fair
it's not
enough.
like fuck you for making
If
this.
there was a memorable scene of him fighting in this movie, I would say
yeah,
fair
which
enough.
there isn't really. Is
There's
there?
like
No.
I feel like they saved all the action budget for one scene towards the end that is kind of I would describe it as John Wick if you bought it from Shine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like it's in a nightclub.
Excellent.
We've got colored LEDs everywhere. There's a couple of bits of like jujitsu. There's a bit where the lady
cool
jumps
gunplay.
on someone and rolls him over. She shoots people in a fun way occasionally,
Mhm.
but none of it quite. It all smacks of not enough time.
She deserves some work out of that action sequence. She did a great job.
She did, and I actually think she gets another fight after that with a guy who's
The big guy.
Ooh, what's his name? This guy, I can't find his name. I want to say Simon Wan because he's an Asian man who plays a sort of wily assassin.
Oh yeah.
And so you're like, okay, he looks like he's good at martial arts. That sounds problematic, but he does martial arts in a way that says,
I was gonna say he does it.
yeah. So, okay, great. Let's have a good showdown with those two. She does all right in that. Meanwhile, fucking Rico faces off with Sweden's strongest like mountain or whoever that guy is
Yeah.
in a sort of quite boring stab fest. I don't know.
Oh, that's another one where the Paul Woodley Interpol guy at a certain point, but with that same assassin dude, is in a fight and he gets cut up, and halfway through, even though he's already like bleeding profusely, goes, "Oh, you want to dance?" And within 10 seconds, he's down and out and killed.
Ridiculous!
Oh, not killed. Sorry.
Ridiculous!
Oh, you want to dance? Oh God!
I mean, that was incredible moment
Loved
for me
it.
where I was like,
It's a
okay,
good comedy.
that's what you say when it turns out you're a good fighter and you can actually
Yeah.
hold your own and there's going to be a
When
fight.
you've been holding back, but you've already been fighting for a
He's
full minute.
literally, oh, you want to dance? And then just gets absolutely murdered to pieces. What is the motivation for him saying that? It's not, ridiculous. So stupid. Okay, I think we've covered most of the notes. Oh, the
I've
bit in
two more bits.
Amstelfeld where he turns around and there's 4 like S&M thugs behind him suddenly, and they hit him with baseball
yeah.
bats and wrenches. Surely that is the moment where you're like, thank God, finally, we're going to see the champion kickboxer do some champion kickboxing. No, rubbish. And then he gets on a bike, whatever. John Wick, wrote that. And then the whole end bit on the roof is sort of graded in that like day for night way where it's meant to look like either
Unnecessary.
very late at night or very early in the morning. And
I think it's early in the morning. It's supposed to be because they're coming out of the night, so it's supposed to be early in the morning.
because they have to lead up to Dam Square at 5 a.m. somehow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it just looks cheap. Sorry.
A few more things before we get out from my end. I don't know. I'm
Just so
assuming
we
you
can
want to wrap up.
really shit all over this movie and, and then wrap up.
Well, because I just saw my last 3 notes. It says, "And we're on a boat?" ? Because for some fucking reason he's on a boat. And then why was it called Black Lotus Tattoo? There's a fucking credit scene in this movie,
Oh yeah, post credits, worth it.
which I nearly didn't see.
You weren't
'Cause it was-
expecting Samuel L. Jackson to pop up, were you?
Oh, but they try. So it really feels like with a bit of jumbling because there's quite a few flashbacks in it as well. Because when his captain gets killed, you don't give a shit because you don't know who he is. You don't know the relationship. They kind of built that very poorly within the movie with a few flashbacks. And I'm like, this is where indie movies get it very right. And just like, we're gonna briefly explain to you with high intensity why this person is important to this person.
Yeah.
And so because then you will care what happens next. And that's why you get into ridiculous situations, but it, on an emotional level, it pushes the buttons. And of course, if you don't like your emotional button push, you also probably don't like Disney because that's all they do. It's that level of like, yeah, it's the obvious because it kind of works really well, but not in a super original or creative way. And with a lot of the stories, like I try to uncover, like, what's the good movie in this? And the good movie, like, he's a the bad version of it, which we watched, this is just a very troubled soldier who hasn't dealt with trauma, who goes on a killing spree to save a girl he barely knows and didn't even show up to the funeral of her father. So this is just him trying to make up for that. Right?
Retribution. That's what they could have called it if they were going to give it a shit name.
But like The Hurt Locker is also about somebody, who goes through a lot, except they show all of that, make you go through it. And then at the end, at least, because I know I didn't really love the movie itself, but I love the final scene of him in the supermarket because we spend that entire movie in war and getting into his mindset as much as we can or could in that particular setup for that movie. But it is so estranging when you see him in the supermarket and you kind of get a glimpse of what it's like to live with that kind of trauma. You go, oh my God, that's the Denzel Washington movie, American Gangster, has a very similar ending in as much as he's the fucking man, goes to jail, and then 30 years later, he comes back to a world he doesn't know. Like, that's a very interesting subject because you are a part of the world, but you're not. None of that, gets even mentioned or hinted at.
No time for that,
movie.
mate. Although you did have 40 minutes at the beginning, which if you're not going to fill it with action.
So much time.
Yeah. Well,
all right,
Emil, we say this a lot, but I think we could go on and on about this. And I feel like you've been here for quite a momentous podcast because up until this episode, the MO of this podcast has been only celebrating movies. and that, it turns out, is a double-edged sword because, like I said earlier, there's not a good action movie every 2 weeks unless you start digging into the archives, and everyone does that. We're trying to keep this one current. So, you know what? Last time I promised that when the Jackie Chan John Cena movie comes out, we will watch it and talk about it on the podcast.
Hell yeah. Jackie Chan, baby.
I suspect it
my two JCs.
Not a not dissimilar episode. Anyway, we're Amsterdam. We got to talk about the local stuff. I wish it was better. And if by the grace of the Dutch gods, anyone involved in this movie hears this and I would love to genuinely have a conversation about it. I've got so many questions just to sort of just to cover ourselves in a really sort of cowardly way. I know how hard it is just to get a movie made.
I don't think it's
so.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was about to say something very similar. Like, we both understand working on like a too little budget or too little time, and having to figure out how you can execute the idea the best you possibly can. And that like, this is not the best it could be, but under the circumstances, it is.
Yeah.
And I would be interested to know what the circumstances.
With that said, I cannot recommend anyone watches this movie.
No,
it's
please don't.
Absolute dog shit. So that's how we're going to end it.
But please come and talk to us.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to everyone.
I just feel like nothing got said no to, but not in a good way.
No, there's some things in it that aren't awful.
All right,
but yeah, I cannot recommend anyone watches this. So I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. Anyway, Emil, thanks so much.
Action replay.
Oh shit! Let me rewind quickly for the action replay moment.
Whoa!
He does the actual jingles live. Sorry. I love that. Yeah, what is your action replay moment? I bet it's going to be the same as mine.
Oh, well, I'll give my two. It's literally just the two cool things that I saw in this movie.
Yes,
which is right at the beginning. There's a cool shot because of a smoke bomb in which somebody and it's backlit, so it's kind of so you just see the shadows work. But it's very short. And they don't pay it off as well as I hope with then you need to walk through that smoke and action hero reveal, but they don't do that, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a cool shot.
Yes.
And at the end, there's a moment where the big dude gets stabbed in the back of his chest, can't reach it, and that falls down, and the knife goes through. I was like, that was a nice moment.
That was okay, actually. Yeah, that was an all right payoff. Yeah, yeah. You didn't get mine, which is quite good. I mean, my first one was the screen in the guy's office with the stocks on it, because I thought that was so incredible.
So silly.
But my actual, it's not action, but I remember I was bored, and then this happened. and I was like, oh, that's a good idea, well executed, was a dead body is hung off a bridge in a canal, and one of those tourist canal boats goes underneath it, and everyone's like, ah, and then it kind of squeaks like along the glass roof, and I was like, that's a good gag, well executed, actually. Well done.
It was. At that point, I think it was too far out of it because my brain immediately went, how this is clearly somewhere during the day. It was noticed absolutely before this, and nobody
The logistics
called.
of getting a dead body suspended above this canal are impossible. In Amsterdam, you'd never get a permit.
This is like, there's so many people around. Go away. Don't. No.
All right.
But yeah, the idea was fun. 100%. Sorry.
That was the
shitting all over your action
celebratory action replay moment where we try to polish this turd one more time.
Sorry.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Dodge's Action Movies Unleashed. I hope next time we will be back with something that we're more excited about. But in the meantime, Emil, thank you so much for joining us on this Dutch special edition. Please tell people where they can find you on the internet in your finest Dutch accent.
You can find me on Instagram, Emil.Struijker. No, that's it, Emil.Struijker. Or Fireside Panda.
Fireside Panda. I love that. And the fact
the Fireside Pen account is just the stuff I make at Boom Chicago. There's zero context to it. My only thing would be get very high and scroll through it. Then it might be fun. Otherwise, I think it's fucking terrible, probably.
I also like that it was Emil Struijker. Yes, Bunt for the non-Dutch speakers is dot. Emil dot Struijker, spelled Struijker. Got it. I wobbled a bit on the J, but I remembered it was in there. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to follow the podcast on Twitter, it's at Dodge This Pod. Me at Simon Fielder on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, Matthew still exists. He's still out there somewhere, and hopefully we can lure him back in for next time. If you like the show, give it a rate and a review on your favorite platform. And if you're an insane, wealthy benefactor, you can do a subscribe, and that means we get actual money for making this, which as I say it out loud, feels ridiculous. But if people knew how much time and effort it takes to make a podcast, maybe they would. I love the idea that there's fans enough that would be like, I will give you €3 a month. Yeah,
they should.
Love it. In the meantime, we'll catch you next time. Still haven't come up with a good outline for this. Emil, can you say a good Dutch goodbye for us?
I'll take a line from Black Lotus.
Please.
Is that decaf?
Is that decaf?